It is now official. $85 million from the federal budget is gone. It is going to hurt here in New Mexico and all across the country.
And we probably won't feel these budget cuts for a few weeks. Legislators here say if the cuts are not headed off, the extra $200 million they thought they had for the state's budget could be gobbled up trying to cover the loss of federal funds. The White House estimates 7,000 Department of Defense civilian workers in New Mexico could be furloughed, and military bases in the state face $43 million in direct cuts. The FAA says it may have to close air traffic control towers at smaller airports around the nation, including Santa Fe, Roswell, Hobbs, and Double Eagle in Albuquerque. Now, the state is set to lose about $10 million in federal education dollars and money to pay about 130 teachers. Congressional leaders of both parties will meet with the president again today, but there are no signs of a deal right now.
And if you'd like to give one congresswoman here in New Mexico your 2 cents about these budget cuts, today is your chance. Congresswoman Michelle Lujan Grisham here will be in Torrance County today. She'll be at the Esperanza Family Medical Center at 11:30 this morning, the Torrance County Senior Program at 12:15, and the Head Start Torrance at 1:30. These are all places that could be directly affected by the budget cuts. Are open to the public. And the rest of New Mexico's congressional delegation has a lot to say about these cuts. Senator Martin Heinrich and Congressman Ben Ray Lujan here. Both Democrats say they are frustrated and disappointed, and both blame Republicans for refusing to budge on more tax increases for wealthy Americans. Now, Representative Steve Pierce here, a Republican, says he opposes the sequester, but he does think the cuts should affect everyone equally. Then there's Democratic Senator Tom Udall. He says we should expect to start to feel the effect of these cuts in just a couple of weeks.
All right, parents, you'll find this especially interesting. Senator Tom Udall is proposing legislation he hopes will protect health and physical education classes from budget cuts. Udall says his bill would classify health and PE as core subjects and would make them eligible for federal education funding and support. You know, with increased childhood obesity and diabetes rates, Udall says the need for this bill is greater than ever. New Mexico lawmakers are calling a system that grades public schools on individual performance flawed. Right now, schools are mostly graded from student test performance. Well, under a state Senate proposal, only a third of a school's grade would come from standardized testing. The rest would come from a combination of other factors, including attendance and college readiness. Public Education Secretary designate Hannah Scandera says the new plan would put New Mexico at risk of losing millions of dollars in federal funds.
And the woman Governor Martinez wants to lead the state education department is finally set to have a confirmation hearing today, 2 years after she's been on the job. Hannah Scandera, as Elizabeth just mentioned, will be in front of the Senate Rules Committee in just a few hours. Ms. Scandera has run the education department since Governor Martinez took office in 2011, but Democrats in the Senate haven't had a hearing to confirm or reject her. The state's constitution says the education secretary must be a, quote, qualified, experienced educator. However, Ms. Scandera has never been a teacher or an administrator. She has clashed with many of them here in New Mexico.
A disabled UNM student is suing Lobo Village after she says they failed to give her the proper accommodations. Erin Thomas has systemic sclerosis, and due to her disability, she says she couldn't use the third-floor apartment, which was assigned to her. She says when she asked management to move her to the first floor, the management refused. Over time, Erin says her health began to decline because she had to go up and down the stairs from the third floor. When she asked management to move her again, apparently they told her that her only option was to terminate her lease. Erin was then forced to move back in with her parents as a result. Now, court documents say that Lobo Village was in violation of the Fair Housing Act.
Well, it has happened again here in New Mexico. Another group of high school athletes now accused of hazing younger players. Sources tell us 2 basketball players from Raton High School sexually abused 3 younger players on a bus earlier this month. The district superintendent says the older players were suspended for a couple of days and allowed to play the rest of the season. Now, you might remember another case of high school hazing that's been in the news a lot. It's from Berlin, where 2 high school football players sodomized other players at Valencia High School in Los Lunas back in 2010. Those 2 ended up pleading guilty to criminal charges.
The time right now, 5:37. Spring is quickly approaching, really just 20 days away, if you'd believe it. And that means it is time to get your lawns and yards green as much as you can. But water wasters, watch out.
That's because starting today, the fines for wasting water here in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County are doubling, and there are going to be more people out there to catch you if you're doing this. News 13's David Romero is live in the southwest part of Albuquerque with all the details on this. So, David, what's going to happen?
Well, Matt, those fines you guys were talking about are going to be pretty hefty. The Water Utility Authority website says they start out at $40 and could go all the way to $4,000, big ones. And why the drastic steps, you ask? Well, you can thank the drought New Mexico and most of the country is going through for those drastic measures. Now, the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority says under normal conditions, the fines would only start at about $20. But with rain and snowfall well under averages for the last few years, water is becoming a more and more precious resource here in the Southwest. Since today is March 1st, the Water by the Number program is officially underway, with homeowners being allowed to water 1 day a week. Don't expect any end in sight for the drought anytime soon.
But as to looking ahead to monsoon season, where we could really gain some ground, it's too early to tell what kind of monsoon season is going to be at this point. But we really need a good monsoon season followed up by a good winter storm season to really get ourselves completely out of the drought that we're in right now.
Now, if you see a water waster in your area, the Water Utility Authority says they want to hear from you, and you can do that by calling them at 768-3640. Matt, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, David. It's not the only hotline the Water Authority has set up. If you have a home and you're looking to get a rebate for making some water savings in your home, you can call 768-3655. There are a lot of ways you can save anywhere from like $20 to $150 on your water bill by putting in anything from low-flow toilets to thermostats on your swamp coolers.